Okay, everyone, this is Andrew with WealthyFantasyFootball.com. We want to go ahead and get some information for you for DraftKings and setting a lineup for today. And to go ahead and show you what lineup I'll set up and I'll use, just for comparison purposes, so you can kind of see how this works. This is a draft dashboard tool, so you can go ahead and click on, for example, you can choose top DFS players, top daily fantasy players today. And you can see here, to estimate, kind of round up, the best players on the slate today, according to this is actually per the FanDuel algorithm, but just want to compare for a moment, because I do play there more often than DraftKings. But so you have in the top 5 here, Dragic, Connell, Randolph, Covington, and Embiid. If you can put up a lineup, which is I see very possible with these top guys, you have a pretty good chance of succeeding in many different tournaments, and even more likely cash games, of course. So with these guys in mind, let's flip over now to the DraftKings best optimized players in DraftKings. So as you see here, similar, not the same. Embiid as well, Dragic as well, McConnell, Saric is on the list, Redick. So we have a Philly stack, don't we? And so moving on down, there we see Zach Randolph, Cauley Stein from Sacramento, another guy from Sacramento. So that's favoring certain teams because of the great matchups they have over on DraftKings. 24th ranked defense and 25th ranked, respectively, against those teams, Cleveland, the Lakers, and even Brooklyn. So there you can see you're trying to take advantage of the matchups, obviously, there on DraftKings. It would be no surprise to a somewhat seasoned DFS or DraftKings player. But we see here that, the top guys, if you're interested in getting superstars in your lineup, if you want to see them, well, all you got to do is line it up in terms of price. So here's the pricing, all on DraftKings for you. It gets updated daily. That's what's great about it. So you don't have to flip back and forth between DraftKings and this tool or any other tool you might be using. I'm going to log in here as well. But so we got James, top stud on the night. No one else really compares, but then you got Embiid, stud. Karl Anthony Towns, pretty good mid-range, higher mid-range, as well as Lillard, Simmons. And so if we're just kind of picking and choosing here, we can kind of look at those in the green, identifying good matchups, red, not good matchups, yellow, decent matchups. So that's what we got going on here in the top. So if you ever wonder, well, is it worth it for me to take a top stud player? Probably, of course. No team matches up well against James. And, of course, Embiid is an established top player. So you'll spend up for these two guys, obviously. But you never know. Maybe you can find some deeper guys that will allow, the salary cap and the construction of your lineup. So to show you, going down here to the lower range players, let's take it up from 3,500, let's say, and above. Or even down to 3,000 goes on DraftKings. Okay. And just kind of look and see how many good matchups in green that we can find to try to evaluate here. So moving on up. Here's a good one with Kofus from Sacramento. It's getting a great matchup. Projected to do well. His recent value is at $240 a point. Season value total, $200 a point. He's right about where he needs to be. He's fairly consistent when he plays. It appears getting anywhere from 12, let's say, to 20 points a game, which is typically what you're going to get in this price range as you're trying to spend up for the superstars. You could go with Frank Mason, insert him into a lineup, also for Sacramento, as he gets 363 value per point. But he averages 235 per point. So he's likely not to stay down as unsustainable higher cost per point. So just thinking about this, he's a number 2 point guard. He's likely to lift his value up a little bit, even though as long as he's getting enough minutes here, let's see what his minutes are. Last 3 games, 16, 17, 14 minutes. So maybe we can do better, of course. If you look at this guy here, is he must play for, is a shooting guard / small forward for Philadelphia against Cleveland, and he's getting 16 points and above for the last 5, or he had an 8.8, but he's pretty much getting 16 points and above with a little upside against Cleveland as well. So you could go that route, kind of a must play really, at shooting guard, Bellinelli for Philly. So you may have to confirm though if he's starting for the game against Cleveland. And anybody else, TJ McConnell, we already looked at. He's really good matchup, and as well as Joe Harris. The more obviously you go up in price, the more upside you appear to be getting. With Harris as a high, as it brings out here in this little box, 39. McConnell has had a high of 53. If you want to compare that to any one of these guys here, this guy 51, he had a point game one time. Going back to Mason, for example, his highest game was only 27, so his upside is obviously limited. You're going to need probably a guy with more upside for a tournament. So this gives you some good ideas to estimate which players would do well, and you could go, of course, in somewhere up here in the mid-range. If you don't care to spend up, you can take a lot of these mid-range players and see what you get, making sure you get some with upside and mix up your lineup with guys that have a lower variance in terms of consistency. And you can even better evaluate that by going over here to the studs for the night. Let's go try to do that. That is found right here. These players will get you better performing, better points in your fantasy games because they're considered studs on the algorithm for the matchups and everything. So these guys are more safer, but they also many times have higher upside as well. So that's where you just kind of have to sift and sort through. And as you notice, this list is limited. So these are what we call our sort of our franchise studs. All right. So in the DraftKings lobby, just want to take a quick look as far as what we got here. Contests, NBA. If you're inexperienced, of course, as you probably may know, you want to go in for a lower end matchup and hope for the best and get yourself something good there. So actually there's no reason to waste time on this site right now. But you could obviously also watch many of these players and then, just click here. And then you can go over, if you don't want to waste a lot of time actually constructing, taking players out, putting them in, trying to get the best lineup, you can just go to the lineup optimizer. That will create an actual lineup for you based upon the matchups and so forth, as it will show you at that point when you're ready. So I'll just leave you all with that. Thanks for watching, and hope you all have a good night in NBA on the 1st of March.